Another week, another podcast episode filled with fun and goodness. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 11 of Under the Middle Rope. I'm your host, Jose Tabuada, and it is one of those special episodes that we like to do here on the podcast, and it is our Patron of the Month for May. And of course, if this is your first time watching, Patron of the Month is where I give Middle Rope patrons an opportunity to submit topics for us to discuss on the podcast. We will pick either something that's completely relevant or something that's really out of the blue. And today we went with relevance. We went with relevance today because, Backlash is around the corner. Next week is another prediction show because that's apparently all we do on this podcast. But let's get right to it. The patron of the month for the month of May is our good old friend, Peter Atkinson. He had a great topic submitted. And of course, thank you to everybody that did submit a topic. Everybody's was great. Believe me, we actually debated for a while what we want to do here. We had some really solid ones, and if you weren't picked, please submit it again. Yes, there were some very, very good ones. We want you to submit it again. It could be picked for the month of June at the end of the month. So please do not lose those topics for those that submitted. But Pete's suggestion was he gave us two suggestions here. We went with the WWE one. He gave us an AEW topic, which we ignored. But this is the one he picked for WWE. After the greatest wrestling match of all time, which of course is coming up next week, a Backlash against Randy Orton, name 5 other opponents you want to see Edge face from the active roster. We can either list them or discuss them. We listed them. One listed them in a ranking. I listed them just in no particular order. The guest, as always, is coming back as our unofficial podcast co-host, Mr. Andrew Wolf Woltman. He gave his take as well. So there's not much else to say. Let's get right to it because it's a fun little discussion. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Edge's opportunities. Okay, everybody, welcome to the discussion part. It's a 2-man panel. Patron of the month. Normally we'll have 2-man panels. I think it can be expanded. But we'd figure, for just a nice, calm, casual conversation, why not join the man who, at this point, is unofficially a host of the podcast, the current Under the Middle Rope champion, Mr. Andrew Wolf Woltman, with his beautiful new hair look. Doesn't it look pretty, Wolf?
It does. It does. Came out very nice.
It does. Wait till the recording stops. Okay, so as I said in the intro, it is Patron of the Month for May. Because as at the time of his recording and release, it is obviously June. So we're gonna get to the June Patron of the Month at the end of the month, which should be a fun month coming up ahead. But today's Patron of the Month, like I said in the intro, is Pete Atkinson, and his topic was after the greatest wrestling match of all time, which is obviously Edge versus Randy Orton in a few weeks at Backlash. Name 5 other opponents you want to see Edge face from the active roster. And of course, he says we can either rank them or we just discuss them. I'm going to, in no particular order, I'm going to give my 5. Wolf has them ranked, so there's going to be a bit of a contrast between the two. So if we, like the Money in the Bank one that we did last month with Nick, if we match up, we match up. And if we don't, it's even great because, we can get discussions off of that. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to Wolf, and what we're going to do is, once again, exactly like Money in the Bank, we're going to start off with our number 5s, quote unquote number 5s, and then number 4s or number 3s and so on and so forth till we get to the top. And, we could find some interesting discussion along the way, as we did receive praise from the topics that came out of after we did our Money in the Bank. So there's no pressure there, Wolf. And you ready to do this?
Let's go for it.
All right. So what is your number 5? Let's start off with you.
Number 5 for me is Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Obviously, Bray Wyatt's not the greatest wrestler in the world, but he's one of the best storytellers that WWE has. So I kind of want to see a story with Bray Wyatt and Edge. Maybe, get psychological, talk about how Edge has these demons in his closet, how he wants to prove that he still got it, how he didn't spend 9 years to come back and be a shell of who he once was. Maybe even do a Firefly Funhouse match. I feel like there's different things we could do with a Bray Wyatt versus Edge feud, and I don't think it necessarily even has to be with The Fiend. So I want Edge and Bray Wyatt simply for the story.
And I think the good thing too is that you had Edge in the last few weeks. You talk about those demons. You talk about the grit. You talk he's somewhat have already shown that with Randy, and of course we're gonna get that again at Backlash. And it's it's an interesting pick because yes, you're right. Like Bray is not the strongest wrestler. I think we can all agree on that. But it's just what he's been doing in the last few months, like we've said on the podcast in past weeks, that the man can take a story and just create art out of it. You can't. There's no, like the man is so good at like to detailing a story to exploit it, I should say. So I like that pick a lot. I'm going for the technical side. So my quote unquote number 5 pick, I'm going to start right off the bat. I'm going to start off with Johnny Gargano from NXT. The man Gargano can do it all. The man has time and time again proven that he can put on 5-star matches. I mean, he's gotten 5-star matches from Dave Meltzer, everybody's favorite father. And the man is so technically good. He's a treat to watch. And I've seen that man already 3 to 4 times, I think. 3 times, I think, in person. 2016, TakeOver, Philadelphia, New York. 3 times. I've seen him 3 times. 4 times. Sorry, I've seen him 4 times in the two TakeOver Torontos. The man is just such a treat when you watch him. He's so good at what he does, and he gets a crowd going. I remember like you and I, we were together for TakeOver Brooklyn a couple nights before WrestleMania 35, and we were just going insane when he was taking on Adam Cole. Like he got us out of our seats, and I think Edge can. I think people may be underestimating how good Edge can be in the ring again. I think he still got it. I think he can still like be upbeat and upkeep with other people. And I think Gargano would be a good test for him to see if he still can. But I do think he does. I do think a matchup with Gargano would really test Edge in a great way. I think Edge can bring out the fun wrestling side in Edge that I think Edge craves. So that's my number 5 because I don't think you can ever go wrong with a Gargano match at this rate. No, he's had incredible opponents. I was there in Philadelphia when Gargano took on Andrade. And I haven't seen the match back because it was just so good. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just not gonna touch it again because I don't want it to be altered just in case. It was just incredible to see in person. So that's my number 5. Let's go to your number 4.
I think this is going to be on everyone's list because, frankly, this guy is a dream match for basically everyone, and he's gotten some criticism because some of his so-called dream matches don't necessarily live up to the hype. But I feel like with Edge, they could put something together really special, and I am talking about AJ Styles. Frankly, AJ Styles in WWE seemed as far off as Edge coming back, and both of those things happened. I would love to see them cross paths. It doesn't even really have to be about story. They could just have a great match on merit alone on a throwaway Raw. So I would love to see AJ Styles get in the ring with Edge, just for that what if factor that's always been there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly say that was gonna be like my quote unquote number 1, but AJ Styles is another one on my list. For that reason, and it's funny because I know we've already had that dream match, the big one. I'm assuming the biggest one you're talking about is WrestleMania 34 with Shinsuke Nakamura. Everybody was extremely hyped for it. We saw it in Japan at a Wrestle Kingdom, and oh my goodness, I mean, I remember feeling so disappointed after WrestleMania, but I think when AJ, oh, here we go, back to the cars. The cars are back. My window's closed today for the record, so this is
my window's open. I want to stay cool.
With AJ Styles, I mean, I think they can be a little lackluster, but he's still good. Like, there's no discrediting that AJ is still pretty good, and again, kind of similar to Gargano, I feel like AJ Styles wrestling. I could be wrong. Your wrestling technique is a little bit similar more to Edge, which is why I think it would mix so well. It could be a throwaway Raw. It very well could be, like now that there's fans in attendance, with the hockey plexiglass barricades, why not get the crowd going? But that screams pay-per-view. That I'm not sure if it's a big one, like a big 4 pay-per-view, but I could see that happening on oh god, so many of them are gimmick pay-per-views, like a Hell in a Cell, not inside Hell in a Cell, but like at a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Or
interesting, you chose Hell in a Cell before you chose something like Stomping Grounds.
I know. Because I didn't want to say Big 4 because I know this could be a Big 4, but I don't know if they would reserve it for the Rumble, for SummerSlam, for WrestleMania, or Survivor Series. And then the other options you have in WWE are gimmick pay-per-views: Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell. Sure, Backlash, but I don't even think we have No Mercy anymore. For goodness sakes, I mean, so what difference?
No one really knows what we have.
Exactly, anymore. Nobody knows. It's all TLC, just garbage, absolute garbage. But I see it. I absolutely do see it, and even if it doesn't live to the hype, I still think that it could reel fans in. Like, hey, we got AJ Styles versus Edge. And I think, if anybody's been watching The Last Ride with The Undertaker, if somebody like Undertaker can say they want to see AJ Styles and they think that it was too late for them, I don't see why Edge is not part of that conversation. It works. I think you're right. I think it could work. Would it be like a 5-star? Probably not, but I feel like it could be entertaining. I think AJ Edge is probably going to be better wrestling match wise than Orton versus Edge. For me, like
we'll get to that.
We'll get to it soon, and I know we're gonna quickly talk about that because like the predictions are next week for this podcast for Backlash. We're gonna talk about it at the end of the show. We're gonna quickly talk about that greatest match tagline, whatever it is. You're number 3.
Excuse me, just took a bite of a sandwich.
Of course, there's also a tradition on the metal rope. What is Wolf eating? We'll be opening up
today. I made a Cuban panini with roast pork and French ham. And sourdough bread.
But is your lucky chance under the middle rope, listeners, because we are going to be opening up the sports books to Las Vegas to see what will Wolf be eating next week. We'll give you the betting results at the end of the podcast. Wolf, you're number 3.
My number 3 is going to seem kind of out of the blue, but frankly, I feel like if there's a way to kickstart this man's career, then this could be a good way to do it. And my number 3 is Montez Ford.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Montez Ford is someone that I see a very, very bright future in. He's got innate charisma. It just comes naturally to him. He connects with the crowd. He's amazing in the ring. I've never seen someone get that much air on a frog splash since maybe Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
Montez Ford is like a younger version of Seth Rollins, and he just in what he can do in the ring. And I would just absolutely see him being a champion, like a singles champion. That's no discredit to Angelo Dawkins.
No.
That's just I see a lot of money in Montez Ford, and I feel like if he was to go toe-to-toe with Edge, that would be a huge rub for him. Even if he didn't win, that'd be a great matchup. Again, we need to see what Edge can do in a regular wrestling match, but we also need to realize that working with someone like Edge in any capacity is going to give Montez Ford a huge boost, or as Edge would call it, a rocket strap.
Yeah, like the height alone, like the air that he gets in anything, just any dive, the frog splash just impressed me. Like you're right, like I haven't seen a frog splash that good since RVD, Eddie Guerrero. I feel like there have been better ones in between, but it's ridiculous.
Not consistently.
No, like as soon as Montez jumps up, you see like the way he elevates his body, and you're just like, holy crap, that is very, very, very impressive. That's a really good pick. It kind of makes you wonder, like when he would break off, because I want to see him break off too. And again, no disrespect to Angelo as well, right? But you can just tell that if there was, let's say that a breakup was imminent. Let's say the breakup is going to happen within 2 months, for example. Well, as an example, it's not going to happen. I don't want that to happen.
No. Here's the thing. I don't necessarily want a breakup. Do we always have to go through the same rigmarole of a tag team breaking up and then feuding? I think it's like, this is going to be a little off topic from Edge, but I just want to see a tag team go their separate ways, like mutually agree that they want different things, and just advance.
Right, and I think you could also classify that under breakup as well. Like two partners mutually respecting to go to part ways.
Hey, we have our own goals. We're going to go our own way. So
that's
just what I want for the Street Profits. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford can still be friends, even if Montez Ford is going for a singles career.
Right.
That's kind of what I want. I don't necessarily need a feud between.
I don't think there would be. I think the feud would burn one of them or the other, and like it's funny. Like obviously, when you say that, it comes to like, should it be heel? Should it be face? Who's going to be what? And I don't see any of them being heels. Like it's just they're just such fun, lovable characters. I don't want. Anyways, the point I was going to make is that, when that does happen for Montez Ford, yeah, I mean, I can see a mid-card reign up ahead. I don't know about a world title. I think he's got to earn that way to the top. But yeah, I think in between, like you can see that. Or even if Edge gets a title, in that hypothetical scenario case, I don't see why, if Montez was on his own already, to go and challenge for that, depending on what it is. But I like where you're going with that. That's a
Well, I definitely see Montez Ford as a world champion, and I see it sooner than most people think. That's what I'll say.
I'm still gonna be a little bit restrained on that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't. For right now, to me, he screams Intercontinental or United States Champion for sure. There's no doubting that.
It's
And
a
I
stepping
think,
stone.
yeah, it's just that. Yeah, I'd rather see him go through the stepping stone than a sudden Jinder Mahal boom. Let's give him the world title jump. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm scared of. And that's why
Montez Ford is definitely better than Jinder Mahal, but I get what you're saying. Don't rush it.
Yeah, don't rush it.
The chase could be fun for Montez Ford.
Yeah, so I like that. That kind of makes me want to see that because I kind of see that working as well. Let's move on. Let's go back to Edge because we like Montez Ford.
Edge?
And Edge is this guy from Toronto, Canada. That's just a wrestler. Just works for the WWE. Very very small guy. My number 3, and I don't think it's happened. But I'm gonna say him anyways. I'm gonna say Seth Rollins.
Oh damn it! There goes my number.
Is that your number 1?
That's my number 1.
Well, you can.
So hey, we're checking these boxes off pretty quick today.
Yeah, which is good, but I'm gonna say Seth. Mine is not a ranking system. Mine is just like in no particular order. I can see why you say he's a number 1 pick.
I'll rebuttal. You go first. I'll rebuttal. And
yeah,
take time later.
Rollins. I don't want to. I feel like I'm rehashing everybody saying the same thing again and again, but I think kind of go back to your Bray Wyatt point. Right now, Rollins' character kind of works against Edge. That whole Messiah, lead me. I want to lead a group of people to salvation. I want to lead a group of people to blah 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 blah. Whatever the whole religious run that we have here, and I see Edge rebelling against that, which is great, which is really really great. I like that because right now Edge is an obnoxious heel that a lot of people just want to punch in the face, which is great because he's doing his job. Everybody knows that I'm not the biggest heel versus face. I'm not the biggest kayfabe guy, or I don't like to hone on it too much because I think it could drive anybody crazy. But for Rollins to working right now, and I didn't think it would, but here we are now, about a few months. This is what, month 4-ish of the maybe more.
I think it was December he turned.
I was gonna say yeah. So month 5. We're gonna say month 5 to 6 of this Messiah run. And I had very little doubt in it at first. I'm like, this is not working. I don't know, what are we doing with this? And now he's got into his own little thing, and it's been great. It cost him his theme song in the process, but it's working. It's working. And yeah, Edge is a guy I think would rebel. And then obviously, I think you're going to talk about the in-ring work, which I think you should. But I'm going from the creative standpoint. And again, this is just 2 stories: a story of a solo independent lone wolf and a man who wants to grab everybody and have them follow him. I think that would work out, and I think you just could create a fun story there. So I don't know if you want to talk about Seth Rollins right away.
Yeah, I'll do it. We'll save time. Yeah, we'll save his time. I think the in-ring work kind of just speaks for itself, and I feel like that's a reason for a lot of these people on this list. But the actual reason Rollins was my number 1 is, in fact, the storytelling, and not necessarily due to the new character, but because there actually is history there. In 2014, Seth Rollins threatened to stomp and break Edge's neck in the middle of the ring unless John Cena brought back the authority. And
that's right, I forgot about that.
That kind of just teased a match that no one thought would ever happen.
Yeah.
So, and then, a year later, he shows back up on Raw. Hey, the last time I saw you, you tried to break my neck. And that just okay, they remember that this story happened. That maybe someday, God knows, someday. And now Edge is back. And I'm not going to pretend it's the dream, the post-retirement dream match that, Miz and Daniel Bryan was. Because that one, everyone was craving. This is a little bit more of a subtle story from a throwaway thing on a Raw. But I feel like, there's money in, Edge saying, you nearly killed me, but here I am stronger than I've been in years, and I'm ready to have my vengeance. So I feel like there's already an existing story for Rollins versus Edge. And everything you said before could still factor into that, but I just want to, pay off that continuity from 6 years ago.
I think it could too, because if you have continuity from Edge and Orton, then why wouldn't you do it for Rollins Edge? Why wouldn't you do it? The continuity has been fantastic. The fact, this, WWE somehow managed to keep a continuity story, which is really rare in today's day and age, from 10 years ago, and now it's evolved into this. Obviously, it's evolved further than we all thought, but it's working. So why not? Like, I think they're noticing that continuity is money, and Edge. I think Edge will be a consistent continuity character as we go along. I think that there's a strong chance that if he does go up with people like this, that he brings up the past. Because right now, all he has is the past. With Edge, you have to work with big names like Rollins, like Gordon. You have to bring up stuff from the past to sell it, because while you're also like excited that Edge is back, you're also introducing Edge to a brand new generation, right? I mean, how many young people today were like, who the heck is that? Right. Meanwhile, while the rest of us are crying of joy that he's coming out at number 22. Was it 22, 23, whatever it was? 21. 21, sorry, at the Rumble. This could work, and I think it's a good way to bring up that, like, yeah, there has been stuff from the past. Like, let's not ignore it. Obviously, you don't want to go the route that AEW is doing with Mike Tyson. That is not an unexpected. That's where you don't bring up the past. But in this case, I think Edge's past will benefit him, and against Rollins, I think it would work. Obviously, the in-ring stuff, you know what Rollins can do in the ring, you know what Edge can do in the ring. Know that about it. For the record, on your graphic, I did put Rollins as your number one, so I'm sure you'll bring up your number two in a bit. My number two, this one's, I had one name written down, and I scratched it, and then I scratched it again, because I'm going to go back to what I originally scratched. Again, this is not necessarily meaning that the next person I'm going to bring up is my number one, but my number two here is Drew McIntyre. It's Drew. Because I do see a one more title run in Edge at some point. I do see it. Now, the contract that he has, again, what was reported was that he's supposed to make, I think, 25 appearances in 3 years, or 20, like something along those lines. He's very, very, very limited. So in me saying that, you could be looking at a potential Brock Lesnar title run where he doesn't show up on a regular basis, and then when he shows up when he does. But I do see one more run, and I feel like it would be kind of fitting if he had one more run. In my opinion, I'm not saying he beats Drew, but I think chasing that title, I think, would be really good for him, because I know he had the storybook ending in 2011, and of all places at WrestleMania, against the Real, retiring with the title. But it's still like there will always be that sense of like he was robbed, that he could have kept going being a champion. He could have kept. He could still have runs in him, and I don't know how much longer he would have lasted if he didn't have to retire in 2011. But I do still see some runs in him, and I think somebody against Drew would be a good opponent for him, because Drew is again, we're rehashing because we're obviously picking men that are great in the ring. Drew is, I really like Drew, and again, I know, and right now I know there are fans that are skeptical, saying maybe it's not a good title run because there's no fans in the crowd. We don't know how it's working, which is a fair argument. But I again, Drew still sells me as the champion. He's going to sell me as a champion for a long, long time. And I think he's selling a lot of people as champ. And I think a program with Edge would be good for both sides. Drew is seeing all these young rookie competitors. Bobby Lashley, great.
I actually like Lashley. I mean, we'll talk about it in the predictions, but honestly, I really like the Bobby Lashley story. I'm
on the fence, and I will say, just because I don't want to derive from the topic, I think Bobby Lashley in this situation is better than Bobby Lashley than when he was a month ago. Like, this is a better spot for him with MVP, with I think he was deserving of the world title shot. It's just, I think the lead up to that, or like his story leading up to, was just that's just why it's probably throwing me off. But anyways.
We'll get into it next week.
Yeah, we'll get into it next week. But with Drew, I think like Drew can work anything. Drew's been working his storyline matches so far. He's had a great run with Brock. He's obviously had the great little run with Rollins, and now I think he's getting some positive. He's earning some positive heads with Lashley. I think it would be huge and a big opportunity for Drew if he clashes with somebody from the past, and I think Edge is that guy to clash with. Because Edge still got it. He still has it. There's no denying that. So I don't see why not. Let's go for your number two.
My number two, a little bit based on sentimentality and like interviews. And I don't know necessarily the story they would tell, but this is a person that's looked up to Edge for years. And I frankly just want to see them, get a chance to share the ring and have a match. So my number 2 is Kevin Owens. I feel like Kevin Owens, as a heel, obviously he can just go the easy route and pretty much say all the things that Randy Orton's been saying. Or we could keep him in the face character, which is actually working, and make it about respect, about how I've looked up to you and I respect you. I just want a chance to show that I can and I can hang with you. I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say it's like Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels, but I wouldn't say it's too dissimilar because, at the end of the match, like if he loses or wins, he just wants to shake his hand and say, I just wanted to know if I could. But frankly, I feel like Kevin Owens would be a great matchup for Edge. He's great in the ring, great in the mic. They could tell a solid story however they choose to go, as long as, they put effort into it.
See, I think the comparison you're looking for is Rock Hogan. No, I'm not saying it's going to be as great as Rock Hogan for WrestleMania 18.
A lot of that had to do with the crowd, yeah.
A lot of it had to do with the crowd, that beautiful Canadian crowd. But I say that, God, I love Toronto. I say Rock Hogan because when Rock brought that storyline, he brought up the respect. He brought up that Hulk Hogan was main eventing WrestleMania after WrestleMania after WrestleMania, right? He thought that he admired Hulk. He put Hulk on such a pedestal, and then he spoke about Hulk leaving and whatnot. Yeah, there was a bit of an animosity there, when The Rock bringing up that storyline of Hulk Hogan leaving for WCW. And then he talked about wanting to put on a classic. He talked about wanting to get that mega match with one of the best of all time, kayfabe wise. Let's get that very clear. In the ring, WWE wise, not person wise. Thank you. And then The Rock offered that challenge to Hulk Hogan in Chicago, which obviously got the crowd going and then ended up being that classic. That's where I feel like Owens and Edge would be similar. Owens wanting that respect. Owens wanting to go look up to that person he admired. Kevin Owens is a Canadian boy. Why wouldn't he respect the Canadian guy? I know Owens is really big on his Canadian counterparts, like Chris Jericho and stuff like that. Rightfully so. That's, I feel like, the route they would go with. Does it scream WrestleMania? Nah, I don't know.
I could see it, but I don't think that's necessarily the way that they would do it.
No, exactly. I mean, the freak way it would be at WrestleMania, this is not to boast my city, but if a WrestleMania were to happen in Toronto, that is where you put that.
I'm sorry, where do you live? I don't think you've mentioned.
I live in Edmonton, but but seriously, I think you have to pick and choose where. I think with that match, you have to pick and choose where. Like if you're in a Canadian city, yeah, you present that match, you promote that match hard because of the Canadian back, because of the respect. Aside from that, a SummerSlam, but it's not. I like where you're going with that, but I don't know where you throw it. Where you tag it. That's not a throwaway Raw match because I like the idea of respect. And I think if it worked with Rock and Hogan, it would work for Owens Edge.
I see it.
I think. Yeah. I liked it a lot. I do like it a lot. And I go so heavy on that WrestleMania 18 because of that, how big that was. And it screams potential. And I mean, yeah. Owens is good. We know that. Blah, blah, blah. But I like that. My number one, because we already spoke about your number one, which was Rollins. We went to year 5. My number one, I'll be honest, I'm surprised you didn't bring it up. And I was thinking about this guy, and it makes sense. And it's the much better spear versus spear match. I'm actually gonna say Roman.
Wait, I thought you were gonna say Goldberg.
No.
I'm kidding. No. Oh my goodness, no.
Oh my God, no. Good God. Oh, Goldberg versus Edge. Oh, that screams disaster.
No, it just screams.
But I'm gonna say Roman. I'm gonna say Roman because that is a much better spear.
I think Roman's just kind of been out of sight, out of mind, since he hasn't been on TV. But now that you mention it, yeah, I really do want to see that.
I know, and it's funny because when Pete brought up active roster, I feel like some people could argue Reigns is not on the active roster. I mean, he is. He's just not showing up, and rightfully so. I 100% respect him for not showing up to these shows. Yeah, can we get that very clear? Like, if you are sad, if you are upset that Roman is on TV because you miss him, good God, can you step out of your box just for like a split second? Just step out and be like, "Hey,
Roman is doing what he needs to for his family."
Exactly.
I have all the respect in the world for him.
Can we please put family first and not our storylines first? Thank you. But no, it's Roman, and when Roman is put with the right person, he can put on a great match. Look no further than John Cena at No Mercy. I liked it. I thought it was great.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I just wouldn't. Roman's best matches, honestly, were with Cesaro on Raw. Like, in my eyes, those were some of the best matches I've seen with Roman.
Right. I think another one you could say is Roman Lesnar at 31.
It depends. Yeah, okay, 31. Yeah, Roman at 34 was just kind of.
Yeah, we're not saying 34 because 34 was a complete Brock Lesnar. Screw you guys. Let me just take advantage of the situation. Let me just keep my title. But no, I think there was a well-balanced match. But I do think that Roman, when put with the right person, can put on a great match. And if you're going on with that quote-unquote WWE style, not like that strong style, not like the freely open technique that maybe AEW has, Edge screams WWE style. And what better not to put with the other WWE style, another highly well-thought I know I feel like I'm going to turn heads when I say that. Another WWE style wrestler than Roman Reigns. And of course, the story screams spear versus spear. Spear versus spear. Like, I mean, I know we almost got it at WrestleMania 36, but I mean, did anybody really want Roman versus Goldberg at the end of the day? Really?
I just don't want Goldberg, period.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't. I mean, I was happy when I saw him at Survivor Series 2016. I'm like, great. And then when I saw him again last year at SummerSlam, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I get to see his entrance twice. Now I'm like, can I not see his entrance anymore unless it's for like a special like occasion, not for an in-ring match? And so I do think that the true spear versus spear storyline is Roman Edge. I mean, if you want to go off on a little story, like to go your route of continuity, Roman eliminated Edge at the Rumble. if it doesn't scream that, but if you want to go the route that you did, like if you want to go for your route for that perfect sake, for your sake, there's your story right there. But I do see this as a better spear versus spear match. I think Edge can keep up with Roman can keep up with Edge. And I don't see why that doesn't happen, in my opinion. Like, let's face it, I do miss Roman. It's weird to say that I do miss him, but I think this would be a good program for him to kind of really explore that talent. Because yeah, like we said, Roman with the right opponent, I think can put on great matches. There's no denying that he has the talent. I just think that he's been put in a lot of just rough situations that people are like, really, like this is what you want out of Roman, and so. Sometimes I think it's unfair to him, so that's just my take. I think Roman would be a good match. I don't put him as my number one, but I do see him like hopefully down the line. I do see something. It's not again that could scream WrestleMania match if you think about it. It's Roman, it's Edge, why not? But
I say go for it. Why not?
Yeah. Well,
if we're gonna do a spear versus spear at WrestleMania, then that's the one I prefer.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the one everybody was expecting instead of Goldberg when it was announced, like, hey, we're gonna get spear versus spear, right? Who has a better spear? And they were even teasing it on social media. Who has a better spear? Edge, Roman, Goldberg. There was other people on that list. Rhino, I think. I don't know. There was other people on the list, but that's a better match in my opinion. Any final thoughts?
I dig it. I think there's pretty good lists.
Yeah, I'd say they're the one that I scratched out. I think honorable mentions. I kind of want to put that. The one that I scratched out twice was Adam Cole. It's Adam Cole, and I the reason why I scratched it out because I feel like for storyline purposes and for like the weight of the storyline, Drew was better, especially with the WWE title. But I feel like Adam Cole would be a guy that would help Edge keep up, and Adam Cole can tell a good story. Adam Cole can really dig into that heel role, and I think Adam Cole would be like the storyline with Adam would be. Kind of like that, why are the old boys the old person here? Make way for the new talent kind of thing. I think. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Not really.
Yeah, I think it's. I
At this
think
point, and this sounds weird to say, I kind of just trust them to steer the ship the way they want with Edge. I feel like he's going to have a say in whoever his opponent is. So if he's picking who he wants to work with, then I trust his judgment.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder. It kind of makes you wonder, like, if it was his decision to do like a pure wrestling match at Backlash.
Okay, is this our transition?
Yeah, let's quickly talk about it. Yeah, like, because I mean, like, we are like, let's get this straight. Like, we are going to, like, it's going to be brought up at the predictions next week, because obviously, like I said, next week is our Backlash predictions, and I know we feel like we're doing a lot of predictions, but just the way that the schedule lined up,
A lot of shows.
I know, so a lot of shows. I mean, we're not even for scheduling purposes, we're not going to do NXT in your house. Although that is the more compelling show, but it's just the way the scheduling worked out, and now we're not gonna do it, which sucks. But it's like when it all went down, we're all talking, Wolf and I and others were talking amongst ourselves, and you see the two match up, and we're like, we're not doing this again, are we? Because we thought, like, the way that the last man standing match ended was the way to go. Like, that's it. It was longer than everybody thought it was going to be at WrestleMania, and it's like a last man standing match screams the end of a storyline. That's it. The bow has been put on. You can rest. Let's move on. Somehow they created something else with it, and the reason why we're expanding on it now, because next week, we're going to be talking about so much. We're going to be talking about a lot of matches. We're going to talk about a lot of, like, who what people think and whatnot. So this is the only time that people like Wolf and I can elaborate our thoughts on it properly, and I'm sure we're going to get quick thoughts from those that are on next week. But it's man, the fact that it's tagged greatest match ever, I feel so bad for Charlie. When she said it, we're all. I mean, my TV's up in front of me, and my jaw dropped. I'm like, you did not just say that. Oh no, why? Like, who put you up to that? Who put a gun to your head and to say, please say that? It sucks. It honestly sucks that Charlie was put in that situation. That's number one. But oh my goodness, I just don't know if Edge, like, I mean, greatest tagline aside. I'm gonna put the tagline aside because I know there's a lot of pressure on it already. I want to say that because what I'm about to say, I just want to get that right here. Because we know, but this won't be unless a freaking miracle happens. It won't be. But is Orton even the right guy to put that tagline on? I feel like our list are like the names that we gave are better taglines for greatest wrestling match. Not saying that it would. So I don't know. Just like, Orton's great, but I just don't know if it. I think they will put on a good match. I have very little hope in them, like, exceeding expectations, which is my point.
I don't want to laugh too much at the tagline, because honestly, it feels like WWE is somewhat acknowledging that it is a bit of a joke themselves. Like, the way it first came up, that felt like a forced line, and then I kind of just thought it would fade away. But then they kept going with it. And I'm just thinking, okay, either they know something we don't, and Randy Orton is secretly an amazing workhorse that's been just, like, phoning it in for about 20 years just so he could have this huge reveal and have the greatest match ever, or this is just like an elaborate troll on Dave Meltzer for not liking their WrestleMania match. Either way, I don't see how this can be taken too seriously. And I don't think WWE is, like, trying to take it too seriously either, because they're having Ric Flair show up and say it's the greatest. Like, it could be. They had Shawn Michaels last night, and even Shawn Michaels was kind of like, guys, you've seen my matches, right? What are you saying here? But I wouldn't put it past Orton and Edge to have a very good match. And I feel like they will go out there and put on the effort. But I also wouldn't put it past WWE to use this as some sort of punchline, like a Terrence and Phillip joke on South Park. They just go out and then... Yeah. And I think what really contributes to my theory that WWE is kind of just joking around with this a little bit is the fact that they've been using the music from The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman in the commercials. And... that just kind of screams like, we're in on the joke. Come on, guys. We're screwing with you. I just don't know. I'm not exactly sure what exactly the angle is here. I'm intrigued by it though. So who knows? I could be eating a bunch of my own words after Backlash and say, "Oh wow, follow that, Kenny Omega."
Yeah, I mean, let's for the record. I mean, like if we want to bring up Dave Meltzer, I could be. I know I'm going to be missing some, but you have with the quote unquote 5-star matches or the greatest match ever. You have Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in WrestleMania 10, the ladder match. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13, the submission match. Andrade versus Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano, NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. I can't remember if Michaels Taker was a 5-star match. I feel like it came up short.
It might have been. The only thing I really know for sure is that before Gargano and Andrade, the last 5-star match in WWE was John Cena versus CM Punk.
That's what I was thinking. I was trying.
It was before that. So I don't know. It might have been. I don't know for sure.
Bret Hart versus Punk Cena was a 5-star match. It was.
No. I mean, I don't know if Taker and Shawn was a 5-star match.
Oh yeah. Bret Hart, Owen Hart, SummerSlam 1994. Walter versus Tyler Bate. Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano was a TakeOver 25. There are like we can list up. Wow, Shawn Michaels versus Taker was a 5-star match. The Hell in a Cell when Kane debuted. That's interesting. So
I mean, they had good chemistry. It's not out of sight, out of mind. It existed that long before the WrestleMania ones.
So there are. I mean, like when you force a match that goes up against those guys, so that's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, and like I think, like I said, it just sucks that we have to have our expectations as high as we can go. You know what I mean? And that's
the thing. I don't know if expectations are really that high, or if everyone else just kind of sees it as a bit of a gag.
But this is this is what you got. Like I mean, like now they have that tagline, right? If it's not like this is why like I say like there's the expectations are high. If that turns out to be one of the worst matches we've ever seen, which is not gonna, I'm not saying that's gonna happen. No matter what, if it's not an absolute classic, you're going to get ripped to pieces, destroyed on social media. You're going to get torn apart as if like WWE isn't already gets torn apart on so many other smaller things. This would completely drive people nuts. And people are going to have a field day. And is that the kind of publicity you want towards WWE? I mean, yeah, I know that expression, no publicity is bad publicity, I think. So, well, there's a line that says like, no, something along the lines, like, like,
all press is good press. That's
exactly whatever it is, whatever the line is, and as somebody in journalism, yeah, if somebody's talking about it, then you're doing a good job. And no matter if it's good or bad, I just don't know, like if WWE, like I guess WWE wants like that potential bad rep the people to swarm to their attention, be like, hey guys, this match sucks, but hey, you're talking about us, score. That's what I feel like it could lead to, but and I'm like to go back to your point earlier. Yes, Orton is pretty good. He's had some classic matches.
He had one of his best matches was with Christian. So
Christian, he had an amazing run in 2005, 2006 against The Undertaker. Obviously, WrestleMania 21 is the biggest one. I mean, to the point where like even Taker was saying, "Hey, Orton should end the streak." That's how high Orton was at one point. That Taker was saying, "Hey, let this kid break the streak at WrestleMania 21," and Orton denied. And he put on a classic, and then they kept putting on solid matches. And now you're in a spot where you're like, okay, well, now it's really time to test.
Well, I don't know if you saw his promo last night, but even he was kind of like, yeah, I've been half-assing it for a few years, but I'm going to show you what I can do. It almost felt like, and I don't necessarily want to bring this up. It almost kind of felt like, the best friend saying, we talked to Orange Cassidy. He's going to try. So I don't know. Here's what it boils down to for me with Edge and Orton. Either they really need to have, it doesn't necessarily have to be the greatest match ever. They either need to have a great match, or the payoff to whatever this gag is has to be really funny. Those are like the only two scenarios in which I see this being a success.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just wonder. Because how WWE is, I wonder if they would continue, like, keep it going. First of all, let me ask this: who wins? Not prediction wise, but like, who do you think? Like, because again, we're saving up.
If I'm booking it, and I want to keep Edge around for a while, I say that he should win. Orton isn't going to be hurt by another loss. Edge, if the story is that he needs to be able to hang, then he kind of needs the win here. But again, I also wouldn't. That's another interesting thing. Maybe they could have Orton win, and Edge, maybe the seeds of doubt are put in Edge's mind, and that's the story going forward. I don't know. Honestly, it could go either way. I see it more leaning towards Edge winning, but I wouldn't put it past them giving Orton the win. Because the win at WrestleMania seemed much more clear that, okay, Edge needs this win. This one, it seems a little more cloudy.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I agree, and I think that they would want to put the win on Edge because they want to say, okay, yeah, he still got it. Yeah, we had a last man standing match, but in a regular true wrestling match, yeah, Edge, they can give Edge the win, and in my opinion, they should. Now, I don't know if that's what I'm going to predict next week, but they should give him the win because it's what else does he have to prove? You give Orton the win. You're right. What does it do to Edge? I mean, does it show that he's doubting himself? Does he?
I mean, yeah, but again, if they told that story correctly, which I don't have a ton of faith that they would, it could be compelling. Edge, losing a big match and doubting himself and going to a dark place, maybe. I don't even know. But it's possible that Edge could lose. It's not the best idea, but if they find a good story to tell with it, I don't hate it.
Now, for the record, if let's put the hypothetical scenario. Let's say that Orton does win, Edge freaks out, he wants revenge. The next pay-per-view is Extreme Rules.
Well, then we're just kind of going back to what we did at WrestleMania.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? That's why I feel like you have to.
Well, here, if we're going backwards from a last man standing match to a regular wrestling match, what's the next Benjamin Button-esque, step in this period? Is it a promo battle? If we're just going to do things in reverse, okay, let's just have a promo off or a town hall where they just stand behind podiums. Okay, and I don't know, get I don't know, Joel McHale there to moderate. I don't know why.
Totally moderate at this rate.
Yeah, why not give Charlie the key?
Yeah,
the point is, I don't know. I don't see this feud continuing past this, but I also said that after WrestleMania. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I wouldn't put it past them because the pay per view after Extreme Rules, and now I'm just stretching it. The pay per view after Extreme Rules is SummerSlam.
Oh gosh, no! I hope we're not still talking about this SummerSlam. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that this is WWE. It's just this stuff that we shouldn't put past them because they've done ridiculous, crappy things like this, right?
I know they have.
At the end of the day, I agree that yes, I think Orton is half-assing it because we've seen it again in the Kofi storyline last year. That's one of my personal examples. But does it have the potential? Slightly. Will it get there? Probably not. Is this going to be fun for a while? Yes, unless a freaking miracle happens, like I said. But
my whole thing about doing this match after the WrestleMania payoff, it feels a little bit like Caddyshack 2. Everyone had such a great time with the first one, but I don't know if anyone was really asking for a sequel. We're just doing this, and Chevy Chase is the only one that's still around, so whatever.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't even know. Again, I'll just reiterate: either they need to have a really good match, which
for the ages.
It doesn't have to be one of the greatest match. It doesn't have to be the greatest match ever. It just has to be a really good match, or whatever the payoff to this tagline is has to be a really funny joke.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. That's all I have. Yeah.
So you're going to get our thoughts next week on the backlash predictions.
I can't wait to hear what Pete says.
Yeah, there's gonna be. I know. We're all gonna. I think we're once we get the guests on, and once we get to that discussion, that's gonna be an interesting topic. I feel like it could be extended just a little bit further. Obviously, we got to make our picks. We got to rush through that next week, but it's gonna be something. It really, really, really be something. Well, Wolf, thank you as always for coming on. You're always forced on and welcomed on at the same time.
Thank you,
so.
Sir.
So thank you. Let's get to the closing. You made it to the end of the episode, and next week is going to be interesting for sure. I mean, this tagline was just something else, wasn't it? The greatest wrestling match of all time, or it could be the greatest wrestling match of all time. Oh boy, I mean, I know we're gonna speak a lot on it next week, and I hope you guys stay tuned for next week because, like I said, for the millionth time, next week is our Backlash predictions. We're gonna get more people on as usual, and what's going to be interesting is that I feel like, kind of like what I said on the podcast, like on this episode, there's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of intrigue to it. I know we're going to spend a lot of time on it because I know, like, we had Wolf's thoughts, you had my thoughts, the guests that are coming out are obviously going to want to share their thoughts. But let us know what you think. You think we missed anybody? Do you think Edge has other opportunities aside from the names that we listed? Let us know in the YouTube comments below. Let us know on Patreon. Let me know on Twitter, whatever floats your boat. Keep us posted because we wanted to keep discussing with you because this is because we have Edge again, and we don't know how long Edge is going to be around for. Yeah, there's that 3-year contract, but could it be longer? Could it be shorter? You never know. So give us your thoughts. Let us know what you think. And as always, that is that. Thank you so much for watching. Become a patron. Submit your topics for the month of June, and help support the podcast. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, available wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe. There you go. I got it. Subscribe to get the latest notifications on when episodes come out. I am Jose Tabuada. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.